Hello po at magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Ngayon po ay May 6, Friday. Ito po ang The Stock Market Today at 3 araw na lang halala na. Siguro po ay mag-start na po tayong gumawa ng ating listahan sa senatorial at local candidates. If this is your first time in this channel, ako po si Benji Chodoro, isang retired bank officer na nagsimula mag-invest sa Philippine stock market noong 2007, and I do this report daily na sinimulan ko po noong August of 2020. Nire-report ko rin po ang latest news on your favorite and most active stocks. If you like the content, I invite you to subscribe. Kung meron po kayong stocks na gusto ipa-review, paki-comment lang po sa comment box at aking prioritize. Hindi po ako financial advisor. Anything I say in this channel should not be construed as financial advice. Ang ating financial news ay tungkol sa national government debt. Kasama po ang ating financial headlines at ang resulta ng trading sa ating PSE ngayong araw. Thank God it's a Friday. Dito lamang sa The Stock Market Today. Okay po, so let's go with our financial headlines first. From BDO Securities, inflation zooms to a 3-year high in April. So nasa 4.9% po ang inflation. And of course, to contain inflation, the BSP will have to raise the interest rates. Yan po, to mop up excess liquidity. Philippine debt hits 12.7 trillion in March. Ito po yung main news natin. And challenging po for the next administration. Kailangan ho mahusay yung finance secretary. Kasi yan po yung magmamanage ng ating debt. Debt, pati na po yung monetary policy, yung sa BSP. For monetary policy and the finance secretary for the BSP policy. For the fiscal policy rather. Globe net income up 86% year-on-year to 13.7 billion in first quarter of 2022. TEL post first quarter 22 core earnings of 8.2 billion. Also, ICT profits surge 58% year-on-year in first quarter of 2022. SMC first quarter 22 headline net income down 19% to 13.9 billion. So kung may pagkakataon po, titingnan po natin si Glow, si TEL, ICT, and SMC mamaya. Okay, so ang main news po natin ay nandito po. Sa business world, national debt hits record 12.68 trillion as of end March. The national government's outstanding debt rose to a record 12.68 trillion as of end March as domestic and offshore borrowings increased, the Bureau of Treasury said on Thursday. Preliminary data from the BTR showed that outstanding debt jumped by 17.73% from 10.77 trillion a year ago, and by 4.8% from February. In a statement, the BTR said that higher debt was primarily due to the net issuance of government securities to both local and external lenders. Of the total, 70% of the debt portfolio were from domestic lenders, while the rest were from foreign sources. Domestic debt stood at 8.87 trillion as of end March, up by 14.5% year-on-year and 5.4% month-on-month. The national government raised 457.8 billion through successful domestic retail treasury bond issuance and debt exchange during the month. Of the total domestic debt stock, 8.57 trillion was from government securities, up by 18.9% year-on-year and by 5.6% month-on-month. As of end March, the outstanding domestic debt was 8.5% or 698.24 billion more than end December level. Meanwhile, external debt grew by 25.8% year-on-year to 31.8 trillion as of end March. It inched up by 3.6% from February. The Treasury attributed the higher external debt to the net availment of external financing that reached 122.69 billion as of end March. Ito pong external financing, ito po yung bayad ng interest. Interest lang po ito. This included the 117.33 billion that was raised from the issuance of triple tranche 5-year, 10.5-year, and 25-year global bonds. Third currency exchange fluctuation further lowered the peso value of external guarantees by 5.6 billion. RCBC chief economist Michael Ricafort said in a Viber message that the government issued RTBs and global bonds to raise funds for various projects ahead of the election ban on public works, which began March 25. The rising trend in interest rates with long-term interest rates at the pre-pandemic highs recently could increase interest payments for new borrowings, he said. Ricafort said that the debt level may reach new record highs in the coming months as the government needs to borrow funds to address the widening budget deficit. Okay, so yan po yung ating main news. And I'd like to share with you this piece also. This is from nandito po sa Manila Times, Wall Street powers PSEI rally. Yesterday po ay tumaas po ang ating PSEI, and that is attributable partly to profit-taking, bargain hunting rather, and this piece of news here. Tumaas po siya kahapon ng 0.97% or 1%, almost 1%. Wall Street powers PSEI rally. The Philippine shares remained in the green on Thursday thanks to the positive spillovers from Wall Street. The benchmark Philippine Stock Exchange Index climbed 0.97% or 66.19 points, while the broader all-share index was up 1.33% or 48.17 points. This came as the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said that the policy rate hike, more aggressive than their 50 basis point increase, is not under consideration. Yan ang nangyari. So, many economists are worried na baka magtumaas pa ng 75 basis points, ano? So, hindi pala 500 yun, it's just 50 basis point. So, hindi natataas doon, sabi ni Jerome Powell. It's not under consideration, tempering worries of a higher interest rate hike in their succeeding meetings. So, tumaas po yung exchange dahil po doon. Luis Linglingan, Managing Director of Regina Capital and Development, said local and regional equities went on relief rally as the Fed announced a widely anticipated 50 basis point hike during its policy setting yesterday. So it's smaller than expected. But it's the highest since 2020. So yun po ang nangyari dyan yesterday. So very challenging po to the next Finance Secretary and the next BSP Chief. Yung mamanahin nilang 12.7 trillion na utang, na debt. Okay? So, before we go to the index, let me check first kung merong dito. Welcome new subscriber Paul Christian Go. Philip Gons, thanks sir. Bounce lang po ang nangyari today. Ito na po, in-explain ko na po that it's partly because of bargain hunting and yung good news sa Wall Street na instead of a 75 basis point increase, naging 50 points lang. So, yun po ang kasagutan dyan. So, that's it. Yan po yung mga comments po natin. And now, let's go to the Philippine Stock Exchange and the Philippine Stock Exchange Index on how it performed today. Ayan. Tingnan natin ang indicators. Let's put it up. The Philippine Stock Exchange Index lost on this profit-taking Friday 109.02 points or 1.59% down to end at the 6,700 level, 6759.90. Yun po, yung relative strength index po nasa 39, meaning it's bearish. Okay, market indices naman. Market activity, 107 companies declined, 60 advanced, while 61 remained unchanged. The broader all-share index also declined by 1.13%. All the sectoral indices are down except for services, which registered a, well, almost flat 0.47% up. But the losers was led by properties at 2.82%, followed by the holding companies. So ito po yung, I would say, some election jitters. Okay, so meron po tayong pahabol na request dito. Isip Roman commented, habol sir DNL. Naku, buti nakahabol ka. Sige, DNL. And then Isip Roman commented, mamaya Brent or WTI crude. Naku, global market yata ito. So, teka, silipin lang natin, no? Baka sakaling ma-review din natin to, WTI. Tingnan natin muna, ha? And then, okay. Okay, WTI. Live, ano ito? Live trading to, ha? Bullish po siya. And this is the US crude oil, no? It's moving upwards with MO100. Bullish trend at 96. Yan po yung pinaka-support natin for US crude. Based on technicals lang po ito, no? The resistance, siguro let's do a parallel channel na lang, ano? And this follows roughly, pero hindi rin eh. Okay, more or less po, support na sa MO100 at 96. And following the parallel channel, the resistance of the US crude is very near this level, 123, 124 level. So bullish po siya. RSI is showing bullish numbers at 58. So si Brent naman, kinakapa lang natin to, ha? Baka ang ibig mong sabihin eh UK oil or UK Brent oil. So tingnan natin to. Okay, UK Brent oil is also bullish, following the same pattern as the US oil, no? US crude oil. So, yun din po siya. M100 is our support, 99. And the resistance, parang meron siyang flag dito, no? Wedge. Meron siyang wedge dito. Tingnan natin, ha? Wedge na pababa, ayan, no? Tapos, meron siyang bearish po yung sign na yan, pero the trend lines are moving upwards with RSI at 57. Pero ingat lang po tayo dito. The same is true with US crude, ano? Baka anytime ay kasi nagtaas po ng rates ang US, so it may react the same way, no? But since there is a war in Ukraine, then there is demand for US oil and UK Brent. Yan, kasi yung Russian oil, hindi ko alam kung nag-export pa sila, no? But there is high demand for oil, kaya po ganito ang movement niya. So kinapalag po natin to, ha, hindi tayo experts. Okay, then ang request ni Isip Roman, DNL. Okay, DNL, uy, bearish po, pero meron siyang doji. DNL is ito yung mga food ingredients. 697 po ang pinaka-support niya, and it's bearish. Above the candlesticks po yung ating mga indicators. So 697, almost 7 pesos. And yung pinaka-resistance po ni DNL nandito po sa area nito, nasa 8 pesos. So almost neutral si RSI, bit bearish lang po at 40. 48. But it is showing signs of a reversal here, at least on the short term, dahil meron pong ditong solid green candlestick plus a short candlestick here, typical of the market sentiment today. Say on the one day before the elections po tayo. Okay? And almost neutral po yung RSI, nasa 48. Then, tignan naman natin yung most trending stocks. Ang gawin natin, piliin natin yung mga nag-news today, no? Si Glow, TEL, ICT, at saka si SMC. And the top most active stock today is SM. Okay? So, let's do Glow. Si Glow ay yan. Naku, mukhang naka-recover tong si Glow with dividends to, 27 pesos. Ex-date is May 16, payment date is June 3. Support is here at 22.32, and the earnings for the first quarter, net income of 13.66 billion, 86.22% higher than the previous quarter. Or is it quarter on quarter to? I think this is quarter on quarter. Okay? And yung resistance po, bearish to sideways ang movement actually, 2618.01 ang resistance, with RSI now showing bullish signs. Kasi po, yung short-term indicator natin is at 424.07 while it closed at 2464. So it's already above. But the medium and the long-term indicators are still above the candlesticks. Okay, then TEL, magbibigay kaya to ng dividendo. So, nagbigay siya noong March 22. Last year, nagbigay siya noong August. March and August siya. So, nagkaroon siya ng doji today, opened at 89.90 and ended flat. It ended flat actually today, but it's 42 pesos lower than the previous day's closing price. Kaya po red po ito, ang comparison po nito is last or yesterday's closing price. Yan po. And it's well, sideways to bullish po ang kanyang movement in general. In general, it's moving up. Yan po. With support, pwede natin ilagay dito sa MO100 at 1804. And resistance is here at 1943. Then ICT. ICT, naku, nagkaroon po siya ng recovery. Ito yung first quarter earnings. And looks like the support is holding at MO100. 212.04 po ang support. Pero the solid green candlestick looks promising since there is volume here. So, abangan po natin ang mga kaganapan dito the following days. Looks like there is a bounce here. Meantime, the support is at MO100, 212.04. Resistance here at 232.31. Okay. SMC. Ito yung nag-figure sa news kanina. Naku, bearish to sideways po si SMC. So the lower support is here. Nasa 101. The higher the resistance, the higher resistance is here at 110. Yan po, but the higher support would be within this area. Nasa 105 to 106 po ang support area niya. Meanwhile, RSI is bearish at 40. And then finally we have SM, the most active stock today. It ended in the red too. Yan. Oh, it's 15.5 pero meron siyang dividend of 6.25 per share. Ex-date is May 10. May 10 sa Tuesday. Naku, kailangan nakabili po kayo today para mapasama sa dividendo. And then May 26 po ang payment date. So bearish po si SM. And it's moving downwards. Let's draw a parallel channel here. So on the short term, Okay, so on the short term, the support is at 109, and the resistance is at 903, more or less, with a slight overshoot here. So based on the parallel channel, and it continues to move downwards based on this short, medium, and long-term indicators. RSI is bearish at 40. Yan po ang ating report sa stock market, May 6, 2022. Vote for your country, vote wisely. Ito po si Benji Chodoro nagpapaalala, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Maraming salamat sa inyong pagtangkilik. Hanggang sa muli, vote on Monday. Wala po tayong pasok. Holiday po ito. We'll see you next Tuesday. Take care, God bless, and bye for now.